Welcome back to Business Daily here on Trust TV. Now, this morning, a few things have actually happened in the economic space of Nigeria. And one of the things that keep coming up all the way from last week is the issue of the crude oil pricing, mostly with regards to Dangote refinery and the NNPC. And we see all that, the gantry price went down over in December, if you recall. It went up about 600 and something naira, and then at some fueling stations about 700 naira. But now Dangote has increased its gantry price again, and so therefore the prices have increased again. NNPC on its end have done something about it too, and just this morning or so, there's stories about its prices increasing to 800 and something naira over here in Abuja. That's one side of the conversation. Another thing that has happened so far is that the central bank has now given national licenses to fintechs. That's MoneyPoint and OPay. What does that actually mean for us as a country? These were regional banks. Now, with these national licenses, what does it actually mean? Are fintechs are they becoming almost like commercial banks? Is that what's happening here? And of course, one of the big stories of this week so far has been the issue of the sit-at-home order. And we've seen how Governor Soludo has said we has to stop, and gone as far as locking down the Onitsha main market, just to say we have to stop this. This is what, as he calls, economic sabotage. Those are the issues we'll be looking at this morning on the program Business Daily. Joining me via phone call to further analyze this situation is none other than Johnbosco Enzenwa, who is a business development consultant and one of our regulars on the program. Good morning. Thank you for joining us on the program this morning.
Good morning.
All right, Johnbosco. So let's first start off with the crude oil situation, Dangote crude oil situation. Now, since the refinery came up, on stream, there's been that issue of there's price reduction, price whatnot. And I saw one of the questions, and I had that question as well while speaking with some people yesterday, is can we get to a point, or is it possible where we get to a point that, the price of fuel is at a certain level, regardless of the fluctuations that happens at the gantry price or at the landing cost and all that? Is that something that could be feasible for a fully deregulated oil sector?
Great, thank you very much. So currently, what is happening is the market forces. The price increase, whether it's from the gantry or the depot pricing, Nigerians have enjoyed the end of the temporary festive discounts, but the implication for these rises are tied to the rising global crude oil prices, as well as operational factors, including market alignment. These are the issues. So for market alignment, this prices hike in the local market are more aligned to global import economics, which means that the regulatory preferences for domestic supply have to change. In the same light, the festive periods are over across the world. Countries and businesses have enjoyed reduction in prices, but now this is a reality, and for us as Nigeria, we have been hit by 14% increase. These are normal layout. They are macroeconomics issues, and they are not different from what is being experienced any other place outside there.
All right. So like I asked earlier, which is something I really would like to know. For every time the price is reduced at the gantry, what happens at the retail or the fueling stations is there's a price reduction as well. So when it went out to 600 and something naira, 660 something naira, if I recall correctly, last December, we expected to see about 700 and something naira over in Lagos, and maybe up here about 800 naira. Now it's come up again to 700 naira, so there's going to be an increment. I'm asking, is there a point where we can get to where there is a flat rate, regardless of the gantry price fluctuations? Would that be impactful for the Nigerian economy and for the end users? Because it will help with budgeting if you know that I'm going to go to the fueling station at least for the next 6 months and see fuel at 600 naira. Not that today is likely 600 and tomorrow it could be 800. If you understand where I'm getting to.
Yes, I do. That's what I tried to say earlier, that prices for petroleum products are not just for Nigerians alone. They are affected by global forces. Here we can only but plan but there are several macroeconomic issues and also the global issues happening around it. There is no gainsaying to say you want to keep petroleum product at 700 naira for a long time. No, there are factors. There are many factors that influence this. So as well as if price of petroleum products, let's say the oil prices change, of course production will change and other things will come on. So I do not see where we can have a stretch. For me personally, I was hoping that the prices could come down to say 500 around March of this year. But what we're seeing now are the global effects. These are trends that happen over the years, and then given that subsidies out, we cannot tell ourselves categorically that you buy the product at this amount. We have enjoyed the seasonal reduction supported by Dangote and the likes, and governments around the world has also done some form of subsidy to allow citizens to enjoy this. So in economy of things, there may not be a way to say that prices are stabilized for a long period. They are affected by so many factors, global and within and operational costs.
Okay, so now, one of the other issues here is about the crude oil prices itself that keeps going up and going down. Now, if Dangote, because that's where this issue is, it seems there's some sort of competition, which nobody likes to admit to, but between the Dangote pricing and the NNPC pricing. But peradventure Dangote gets to get most of his crude, let's say 90% of his crude from Nigeria, without having to import some of this crude. Would it in any way impact how low the prices of the retail price of fuel will be at the filling stations?
Of course. If Dangote gets some form of support within domestically to get crude in Nigeria and come to some proper agreement with the government, of course, Nigerians as a country will enjoy price reduction different from what is happening across the world, and some form of favor will accrue to the citizenry and users of the products. But interestingly, this kind of support is there, but not complete, and it affects your operational activities, even as well as the economic activities that go in. So the government of the day needs to come all out and provide that social intervention to keep this price at a steady, given that Dangote's market is here in Nigeria, although operating from a free zone. Give him that incentive and all of that, and get some form of agreement. Then we will, as a country, enjoy some of the dividend. But if it's left to operate, don't forget, it's a business, and it's run fully as a business. And entrepreneurship means doing what I want to do, taking into consideration my cost of operation and my environment. It's a business environment situation.
All right, so now we've understood that imports of fuel has been allowed sometime last year. Would that in any way play a role in this pricing situation where that we have, where it's this price, this place, this price, that place? Do you think that could actually play a role? Because I saw a story earlier this week that says that importers, the pricing of their fuel is even lower than Dangote's pricing.
Oh, great. So I think that it's an open market for anyone really. And don't forget the face-off between Dangote and the importers of crude and petroleum products sometime last year. So it's a competitive environment. It's also a business environment for everybody to play and provide for the consumers. There's a ready target market. The market is ready to receive products. And so you look at your cost of production before you make your move, So I'm just thinking that all of this are playing out, It depends on the projections from Dangote's end, and also the projections from the end of the importers, NNPC as well, that's the regulator in this regard. Nobody wants to go at a loss. So it's a competitive market. They are allowed to outplay and outsmart each other, while the citizenry is hoping to get better. But it now rests on the government to provide an enabling playing field for all of these people, the competition to be clean, and for the individuals or the citizenry not to be affected, impacted negatively, really. So in the long run, I just see a path where we can remove all of the ripple effects that businesses faced in terms of operating costs. That is Dangote and his likes. Also, sufficiency. When there is sufficiency and the markets and the market forces are playing out, we will have stability. For now, there's it's wavy. Nobody knows the direction. Any of this is swinging, given that there are many forces at play: socioeconomic issues, importation, global market, rising product costs, and the likes. So, but government have a role to regulate and also provide direction for everybody, including the consumers in place.
All right, now let's move over to the banking sector. Let's see what's happening there. There's been a lot of recapitalization stories from that axis. People have to, go up, but not that version of the story. We're going with the Money Point and OPay being now given national licenses by the Apex Bank, the Central Bank of Nigeria. Now, the CBN's upgrade of Money Point and OPay licenses signals deeper regulatory confidence in fintechs and allows expanded operations, including wider payment services, higher transaction limits, stronger agent banking, and closer integration into Nigeria's financial systems. Now, the question mostly is, these are mostly called fintechs. Are they more like microfinance banks, or they're mostly fintech banks?
Great. They are digital or better fintech powered microfinance banks.
Okay.
They are microfinance bank in themselves, but driven by technology, fintech. That's what they are.
Okay. Now, what could you tell? What would you think, or what would you make of this upgrade? Yes, it's well, I want to believe it's a good thing for investors into that sector, into those companies. But away from it, what does it mean for us, for the average Nigerian who patronizes this fintech companies?
Great. It's a long time coming, really. On a personal note, I am very excited about this. The reason for this is because of the CBN wanting to align their licensing framework of this MFB's microfinance bank with their actual operational reality. You know why? Because these fintechs already, better say this microfinance banks, they have reached across they are regional, really. Interestingly, people don't even understand that they were like regional MFBs. But using technology, they are able to reach everywhere across Nigeria. And so the CBN is helping to align, or better still, reduce this mismatch between the formal scope of this bank and their current or the real footprint. So this is very good for us as Nigerians, because the fintechs, they have tried, this microfinance bank, they have tried by using agents, digital application, and also digital channels to reach around, given that their licenses was not going to enable them go this, but technology has enabled them go far. Also, the CBN is also strengthening their regulatory oversight over them, because these establishments are fast-growing institutions that play a critical role in our financial services, working with underbanked, underserved communities, also promoting the informal business sector, as well as supporting MSMEs, including the fact that the CBN is also giving us, as the users of this MFBs, the opportunity of enjoying consumer protection, financial system stability, because with this reach, now they can go everywhere across Nigeria. We can easily walk into the banks and make inquiries. But most importantly now, these banks are also going to be able to know their customers correctly, because they are now going to be heavily supervised and regulated by the CBN. But you must know that these banks have done very well, because this promotion they have gotten is not automatic. They met the 5 billion naira capitalization, as well as they had also been pushy to have strict governance and also comply to the operations before they get qualified. So this is good for us as a country and also good for this banks.
Okay, so now away from just spreading and its reach, what other things could this with this license coming on now grant these fintech companies? What other advantages could they have now with this license that they didn't have before?
Great. They could. What they will do is to operate now without fear nor favor, moving from their regions. Now establish offices across Nigeria and have a desk, an office. It's good for us as Nigerians. There will be employment, more accountants will get on board, more business developers. Interestingly, also businesses will do well. So they will increase their operations across. Before you know it, they can become, they can move out from Nigeria to begin to capture other countries and regions, and also the positive thing also is that there will be also continued and expanded access of digital banking. Loans can go to businesses, and in the same light, there will be gains for the bank, as well as services for the MSMEs and informal business. There will be greater stability for the bank because they are operating now without fear, or without having worry or heavy regulations, and also there will be trust due to stronger regulations that will amount to them from the CBN.
All right, now, what would we make of this move by the CBN? What is it actually signaling? Would we say that from this move that the CBN is trying to tell us that fintechs are almost, on par with normal commercial banks?
So it is a blessing in disguise for the citizenry and users of banks. I wouldn't say that they are almost at par with banks, but the CBN understanding that these digitally powered microfinance banks have done tremendously well to improve the financial infrastructure in Nigeria, taking digital technology to the doorsteps of villages and communities and all of that. Their actions are far-reaching. Now, it will be out of place not to recognize the work that these banks have done over the years. That's not to say that they are now at par, but you must also know that local businesses trust to do businesses with these MFBs. And MFBs are also designed in the first place to provide support to local businesses in terms of loans and all of that without so much of the huge collaterals that needs to come in. Now, what the CBN has done is just to improve the financial services and allow funds to go around and also to support small and growing businesses from the digital enablement that these MFBs provide. And so these MFBs are very close to communities. They are the grassroots, which means that the digital banking that we have been talking about for years will be actualized in a few months, given this reach.
Now, like you said, the grassroots. So now let's go to the MSMEs, who are the major, clients and users of these banks for their businesses. Now, what do you think this will mean for them, which will actually depend on MoneyPoint and OPay for their daily transactions and business?
Yeah, it will mean a lot. Interestingly, the microfinance banks have supported more MSMEs and small and growing businesses than the conventional banks have, because you can get a loan of 1 million, 2 million without so much of collateral. All you need to do is to show your business. Maybe you sell a little bit of things, you sell wood or you sell furniture. You can show that I have prospect and this bank will give you funding. So for these banks, having this MFBs that are digitally enabled at their doorstep, also having physical office, can also reduce that tension that happened between the informal businesses whose leads or who power them most times are not very much educated or have some form of restriction to go into big banks and make inquiry. They can simply walk into these places to make inquiries. A woman who sells some wares on the street and go to the doorstep of these MFBs and say, look at my business, how can you help me? What do I have to present? And the businesses can also hold their hands and help them grow because they really want to make money. I think that their operation has been very unique. They are not so much keen on the big. They just want to support the small businesses. So small businesses are going to enjoy themselves. So it's actually a neutral reaction, because there will also be stricter KYCs, that is know your customers, where these banks can know their customers. Interestingly, the SMEs or the small and growing businesses can have somebody who will hold their hand and know them one-on-one. There can be personal knowledge of each other, and that is the panacea to economic growth for the country and also the growth of the informal sector.
Do you think that we will be able, likely see digital banks come out from this fintechs sometime in the near future?
It's here already. It's here already. There'll just be improved innovation. Innovation in the sense that even the banks will have to start driving the digital economy completely, to have these businesses begin to think about owning smartphones, understanding how to use them, understanding how to do banking with them. There'll be more innovation now in technology space, and that will begin to set up digital bank at the end of the day, and also every other form of digital banking or payments that will happen. It's possible also that what is enjoyed outside of here, people can be convinced to even get into other spaces that are not the fiat money that's used, or what we know. Maybe crypto can have some hold, meanwhile government regulated and other forms of digital or money tokens.
Okay. Now, with this upgrade, there's a risk for risk. Anything could happen. Do you think that the Central Bank of Nigeria is actually ready to stand in case any of these fintechs fail in the long run?
Okay, so the central bank didn't, from my assessment, they didn't just think up these things, because these banks, as you see them, they have done a lot of work. Besides the presentation of a 5 billion, which formerly was a 2 billion to get the attention of the CBN, to get the attention of the CBN, these fintechs have done a lot. They've also met some of the strict compliance issues raised by the CBN, which include having strong governance system, as well as meeting some form of a financial, what do you call it now? Meeting some form of financial requirements and stability, recapitalizing and all of that, having proper offices, The CBN is also holding their hands. Some of the founders of these banks may not be regular bankers, but the CBN has done well over these years to educate them and their staff and their sponsors and all of that, to get them to a level where, yes, they're ready to go in and do proper banking that require all of the checks that the conventional banks that we know go through. So I think the CBN is ready, having an eye on them, because this current CBN, I think, is doing a whole lot in terms of making the system work, in terms of the monetary policies and supporting SMA and informal business growth in Nigeria. So I don't expect anything less.
All right, let's move over to the situation happening mostly in the eastern part of the country. The sit-at-home order that has taken place started around sometime in 2022, 2023, and recently the governor of Anambra State, Chukwuma Soludo, who has asked the Onitsha main market to actually stop the sit-at-home on Monday and come to market. However, the marketers, or the traders rather, still maintain that sit-at-home order for Mondays, and in that light he decided to close down the Onitsha main market and said, if you're not going to come for 1 week, there'll be no market at all. Now, there are so many economic impacts that this sit-at-home order has had in the East. At times even vehicles here, transport companies don't travel down. Some transport companies don't travel down east on Mondays because they don't want to have to deal with any situation. What more could you make of this one? Let's go back to Soludo's stand. Do you think that stand that he's taken is an economically wise decision to have shut down one of the biggest markets in Nigeria for a week?
I am utterly disappointed, really, in the governor, if you ask me. These are economic issue. They are social economic issue, and the governor is a professor of economics. He should know better. You know, there are many things standing. Listen, myself, I'm from the southeast. When in fact, I was even in the southeast last week. I had to leave on a Sunday because of the sit-at-home and the security issues. There are no security in place. Imagine I live in Ekulobia, or even live up in my hometown is Uga. I stay in Uga. How can I move from Uga to Onitsha where I own business if there are no security to get me there? Now, I think the missing link to all of this was community engagement. You can't force traders to come to open their businesses or their shops. Why do I say this? Don't forget, in our classrooms, why did we say people take on entrepreneurship? To have freedom to do what they want to do. Freedom to come to the stores or my shop whenever I want. I can shut down, I can go on vacation when I like. I can decide. I don't think it is only because they support an agenda or something. I think that it's a security issue. I'm speaking even for myself. I have to leave my hometown on a Sunday, so the Monday does not meet me around the region. So the issue missing here is community engagement, where the governor must go into dialogue with specified agencies responsible to begin to talk to people from hamlets to villages to communities to shops to traders to in the street and the like, to orientate them and tell them the reason for this. Some of the people who are agitating for this sit-at-home do not even have businesses. So that's the missing link. Community engagement is key to getting everybody in one place and getting businesses to operate and getting communities to understand the reason why they need to work, not shutting down this. It has put pressure on families. Imagine the goods that are perishable in some of those shops, millions worth, they will be destroyed, and pressures will go to other markets. There will be inflation in other markets currently in the southeast and anywhere, both in Kano and Lagos, because supplies come from Onitsha to these places. I am not happy about this. I think the governor didn't get it right.
Okay, now, he said something that's quite, if you can go to the stadium to sell on that Monday, you can as well open your store on Monday, because they're not just sitting at home. They're actually going to sell in the stadiums too on Monday. So why can't they just open the stores on Monday? Because the government has a role to play, but the people themselves, they could have a role to play. So why can't they tell themselves, enough is enough, our businesses are failing, we need to find a way to make this work. The economy of our state is not bringing so much to bear. I know it's just one day, but that one day might have a major impact on the IGR that the state would actually get. So the people
I agree with him, that people come to, but look at the majority of the traders. Have the government of Anambra State even done like a census to understand where, better say a survey, to understand where the bulk of the people who own businesses in that Onitsha market are living or operating from? That is one. Now, I tell you for free, we've seen this happen in the southeast. People have lost their lives and their livelihood. They're not protected when they come out. Now, you have hoodlums who are pushing the sit-at-home agenda. That is why I said that the people must understand their parts. No businessman who is worth his salt will close down his shop and lose revenue. There must be reason for this. It is not in solidarity, I assure you. It is not completely in solidarity. It is the fear of opening who will protect us. These are the issues. Businesses have been destroyed by hoodlums. The security agencies now that flood the market, where are they on a natural day outside this government pronouncement? Are they in the marketplaces? Are they in Onitsha Bridge? Are they spread across the country making sure they keep the peace? I don't think so. It doesn't happen. So you could say that people are in stadium selling. This may be presidents in Onitsha there, people who live there. I have a big shop in the Onitsha market. Then I take a few to go to the stadium where I can sell millions of naira if my shop is open. the government is not sincere to tell a list. Maybe I'm being very personal now. I think the governor and the government need to engage the people in continuous dialogue. Community engagement to happen. Papers need to be created. People need to be orientated across lines from hamlets to meetings to communities. People need to understand this.
Okay. Now, let's take it into the region as a whole. Now, the Southeast is mostly made of Igbo people who are known for their business-mindedness, you know. Now, how is this situation? What will this thing so far? This is about 2-3 years now of the situation, and we've seen the impact it's having on the economy. What can be done to reverse this impact so far? And how can we, away from the security conversation, what could actually be done to help the Southeast become more of, you know, that hub that it is, known for that business-mindedness that, you know, the people of that region are known for?
I have said it. It's community engagement. You need to engage the people. You need to give them, you must spend the fund to bring the peace. It's not, you cannot muscle people to agree with you. It's an ideology, you know. And no businessman, even some of us who are not completely in the informal business, no businessman is happy. Some of us are not even happy. Even politicians are not happy to see that the Southeast is on lock and key every other Monday from Abia State up onto Enugu State across the region. Nobody is happy about this. Now the government must spend the fund instead of going kinetic, you know, by military to really change this. It must begin to engage with them, must understand the reason why, and also help to integrate the people into the country by understanding that we are a nation. We don't need this for our common prosperity. We need to align better with every other part. Yes, these are issues, but if we understand the basic that it is hurting our economy, businesses are not moving, they're also getting hurt, you're losing from what is happening in the national and the likes. People will understand and begin to align. Our politicians have a lot to do. The government needs to engage, spend the money, spend the billions to engage. From universities to colleges of education to secondary school, there should be, or better say, push for some form of civic education. Let people understand that this is our nation, we must build it. We don't need to act like we're not part of it. The economy is one. The people are one. We're all affected by this. Community engagement is the key. Spend the billions instead of using the military, Muslim people. Then, importantly, put security in the communities, the hamlets, and across board. If we don't do this, we're only joking. We're only tapping the tail of the lion. We need to change all of this.
All right. Thank you so much, Johnbosco Enzenwa, for your insights on the conversation this morning on oil pricing, CBN licensing, and, of course, the sit-at-home order in the Southeast. And that's the much we have for you this morning on Business Daily. Same time, same place tomorrow. I've been your host, Chiamaka Nwafor. Have a good day.